Unacceptable. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am going to give you my January wrap up. I read like 13 books in the month of January. It was a decent month. I wouldn't say it was like my best month, but it was decent. Also, do you notice anything new? I'll give you a minute. Do you notice anything? All right, I'll tell you. I got a microphone. Yep, I got a microphone and I'm so excited about this. So I decided to get a microphone because so you guys can like hear me better, and it blocks out like all the noise around me. So like my heater that you would usually hear when it turns on, you won't hear that. Or at least you shouldn't. Hopefully you don't once this video is done. I really hope you don't. But you're not supposed to hear any background noise with this microphone, and I am so happy about this. I'm so excited to be using this right now. See, my heater just turned on. Do you guys hear it? Do you? Because, I mean, I hear it obviously, but like, do you guys hear it? I hope not. All right, let's get into the video. So, the first book I read in January, it was my first book of 2025, The Unwanted Marriage by Katerina Mora. So this is the third book in the Windsor Brothers series. This is a series of billionaire romances, billionaire men. We love it. I rated it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Not as much as The Wrong Bride, which it was in my December wrap up. That one was my favorite. I have a new favorite. We'll get into that. But yeah, I am currently working on a vlog for this series. So you'll be seeing that. Won't say too much about it. But this one is about Faye and Dion. Faye is the last woman Dion Windsor wants to be near, let alone marry. Yet there's no escaping the alluring pianist he's been engaged to since they were children. For years he made his unwillingness known, but his attempts to keep Faye at a distance fade to dust at the sight of her with another man, mere months before their wedding. One look at her and he realizes he's done running. Time is up, and whether she likes it or not, she's his. Or she could be, if the secrets he keeps didn't hold the power to destroy her. So this one was a little bit more surprising than the first two because this was a little darker. It's not like super dark, but there are dark elements in it. But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. 4 stars. Now, the next book is very dark. I was really nervous going into this, but that is Little Stranger by Lee Rivers. This is a foster sibling romance. Yeah. I was a little nervous going into it. But if you want to read this, definitely search up the trigger warnings because it is very dark. Very dark. There was a point where I literally had to set the book down because I was like, what just happened? She betrayed him, and now he wants revenge against the foster sister who became his forbidden obsession the second he laid eyes on her. After she sends him to prison for years, he's free and ready to haunt her. Everything about Olivia belongs to Malachi Vise. Her mind, her body, her soul, her fear, her pain. On Halloween night, he can no longer lurk in the shadows. All he has left to own is her heart, even if he needs to take it. It's very, what's the word? Like the description or the blurb, what's the word? Like ominous? Ominous. We're just gonna go with mysterious. It's very mysterious. With it being dark, I am gonna say that Malachi, though it is a dark romance, he's a softie with a dark side. 3 stars. If you're gonna read this, definitely search up your trigger warnings. And then the next book I read is My Fault by Mercedes Ron. This is actually a reread. I read this maybe I think like a couple years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago when the first movie came out. And at first I didn't really like it. Like it wasn't my cup of tea. But I was in love with the movie, still am in love with the movie. I've seen it like 500 times already. Like it's one of my favorite romances. And then the second movie came out, Colpe Tuya. I am so in love with that movie that I was like, I need to finish the series. So I decided to reread My Fault. So that's what I did. And I rated it 4 stars. I loved it. This was so much fun to read. This is a step sibling romance. They didn't grow up together though, guys, okay? They became step siblings when he's 22 and she's like 17. So it's a little bit of an age gap, but not like a big, big age gap. But this was so much fun to read. I love Nick. I love Noah. So far, though, I do prefer Nick in the books than the movies after reading or watching the second movie. Although I do still love Nick in the movies, like, let's be honest. But I love how he's much softer in the books. But this is definitely a highly recommended series. And I haven't even read the last two yet, but I already know I'm gonna like eat them up. And then I read Broken Harbor by Catherine Cowles. She is actually one of my new favorite authors. I love her so much. She writes romantic suspense, and this is a hockey romantic suspense. And it is the third book in the Sparrow Falls series. So my favorite in the series is the first one, which is Fragile Sanctuary. I love those two characters so much. Love them so much. This one was actually my least favorite in the series, but I still really, really enjoyed it. It was so good. It's a single mother hockey romance. Since the moment our lives fell apart, the only thing that mattered was making a good life for my son. A life where he was happy and safe. I just never expected to find that safety with a hockey player known for his brutal dominance on the ice and his recklessness off it. But Cope Colson is so much more. The gentle way he makes sure we're okay, the playful care he shows my son, the way he truly sees me. When my life comes apart yet again, it's Cope picking up the pieces. Now we're living in his house, eating his incredible chef-worthy meals, and it's not just my son who's falling. It's me. Because when Cope touches me, I lose all sense. I'm no longer thinking about staying safe. I'm thinking about how my skin ignites with every glance, how I come undone with the barest brush of his fingertips, and when we give into temptation, I'm lost. But Cope has secrets, and so do I. And when the forces from our past emerge from the shadows, there's nothing they won't do to end our happiness once and for all. It did surprise me a little bit with how it ended. I'm not going to tell you why, because that'll just like spoil why. Like, it'll just spoil the ending, so I'm not going to do that. I rated it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I highly, highly, highly recommend this series. This author, she writes such good romantic suspense. I've only read like 3 books by her, but like I'm about to read her entire backlist. I am so excited for that. And then I read Off to the Races by Elsie Silver. So I rated this 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but it is my least favorite Elsie Silver book. So there were parts where I was a little bored. It's a like enemies to lovers, boss employee romance, and I usually eat those things up. And I did. I did. It did not take me long to read this. Like I flew right through this. But there were just parts where I just wasn't as invested as I thought I would be. He's never had a problem keeping things professional with his employees until she waltzed onto his property. Vaughn Harding heads from the city to small town Ruby Creek, intent on revitalizing his family's ranch and the scandal attached to its name in the wake of his grandfather's unexpected passing. And when he hires Billy Black to train his best but most stubborn racehorse, he hopes she can deliver. That's another thing. I don't like her name. I don't mind the name Billy for a girl. That's not it. I think that's actually a cute name. Billy for a girl, I think that's really cute. I don't like the fact that her name is Billy Black. Like I don't like her last name. I can't tell you. I just don't like the way that Billy and Black sound together. Billy is talented, whip smart, sassy, and so damn tempting. She and Vaughn clash from the moment they meet, but he can't stop thinking about her. And in a small town, on an even smaller farm, it's hard to keep their distance. Even harder to keep their friction from turning into fire. With every smart-mouthed comment, every game they play, Vaughn ends up wanting more. Her lips, her trust, her heart. Billy Black is the whole package, and possibly the only one who can save Vaughn's business, and him. Vaughn wants it all, but at what cost? Because for the first time, he doesn't just want to win races, he wants to win the girl. So there is some groveling in here, which I did love that. I think that's my favorite part of in this book when he like groveled for her. So that was great. I am really excited for Violet's book though. Violet is okay, so like the Eden boys, like in the Chestnut Springs series, Violet is their sister. And her book is in this series. This is the Gold Rush Ranch series. and Violet is in this series, and I think her book is next. I'm really excited for that. That is actually her and Vaughn's brother Cole. Cannot wait for that. And then I read The Apple Tree by Jewel E. Ann. I actually got to read this as an ARC on my phone, and I rated it 5 stars. This was so good. This is the second book to Sunday Morning, which is another book that I had got to read out as an ARC, and I rated that one 5 stars as well. This series is so good. It's a single dad age gap romance. She's 18 and he's 28, so it's a 10-year age gap. And she is also the preacher's daughter. Eve has just graduated from high school, but she doesn't know what's next aside from working at the local motel, spying on Kyle, her neighbor, and stealing apples from his orchard. If she doesn't figure things out soon, she'll be stuck at home and treated like a child forever. Kyle is a single dad and a new football coach who needs a babysitter for his adorable son. When he meets Eve, there's an instant connection because she reminds him of someone, himself. But Eve is the preacher's daughter, off limits, and Kyle has already had his heart trampled by his ex. After earning his son's affection with her homemade applesauce and youthful spirit, Eve asks Kyle to teach her things like driving his fishing boat and shooting his hunting bow. Despite his better judgment, he agrees, but swears Eve to secrecy so no one gets the wrong idea about them. Their playful banter and innocent flirting crosses a line, and Kyle misses the heartbreaking secret Eve's hidden in plain sight. When tragedy strikes, can they find their way back to each other? This was just so good. I still think about Eve and Kyle. Like, they are always on my mind. They will always be on my mind. Same with Sarah and Isaiah from the first book, Sunday Morning. They're always on my mind too. Like, I love these couples so much. I'm so excited for the third book. I think it's called The Good Book. I believe that's what it's called. And it's about Gracie, who is Eve and Sarah's younger sister. And it's going to be a friends to lovers romance. So I am so, so, so excited. I highly recommend this series. And then I read The Fault in Forever by Claudia Bergoya. This was another arc I had gotten, and it took me a minute to get through it. I rated it 2.5 stars. I originally had rated it 3, but dropped it down to 2.5 because it didn't hit with me. How do you let go of your first love when he's standing right in front of you? How do you choose the man you need without breaking the heart of the one you can't seem to let go of? The fault in forever is that sometimes love isn't enough, and now I have to decide who I am and who I can't live without before I lose them both. So this is labeled as a second chance romance, and I just didn't see it that way. Well, I don't want to spoil it, so I can't really give you too much detail as to why I don't think that. But when I read it, I just didn't see how it was second chance. So, yeah, that's why I rated it 2.5 stars. The one thing I did like, though, was Hayden. He is the MMC in here. He's the only one that I really liked and vibed with. So that's why I rated it the 0.5. And then I read my most anticipated read of this year is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Literally so excited about this book. So, funny story. Okay, so well, it's really not that funny. But when I went on the day it was released to go get this book, they were all out of the special edition, like the deluxe special edition. They were all out of it, wiped right out, and no more left. So I ended up getting just the regular copy. And then a few days later, actually, I think it was like a week later, I went and they had one left on the shelf. So I snagged it. I was so excited. So now I have 2 copies. I have the regular edition, which is annotated, and then I now have the special edition. Like, are you kidding me? She's gorgeous. But 5 stars. Like, are we surprised? 5 stars. I love this book so much. So, so much. I love these characters. I love this world. I love everything about this. I did not like Dane. Okay? No one liked Dane. Things have changed. I now like him. I might even end up really liking him eventually. Maybe even falling in love with him. Who knows? Because, I mean, there's Riddick. Also, Riddick, okay? He, like, in love with that man. Like, new book boyfriend unlocked. Because he is perfection. Perfection on a man. I love him so much. And if Rebecca Yarros were ever to decide to write a book about Riddick, I would 100% be on board with that. And then I read Chaos by Luna Mason, and I rated it 2 stars. This one was just a little, I don't know, some parts were kind of cheesy, or like some things that they would say was a little cringe. But then there were parts of it I did also like. But there were a lot of parts of it that I just didn't like. Everything is falling into place. A new life in a new state, living up to my name, the King of Chaos. This is our new Bratva Empire where we take what we want. And what a perfect way to leave behind my old life, by sleeping with my brother's new wife, on the night of their wedding. The only problem is, I may have left my heart with her. Even if she is the one woman I could never have, that didn't stop me getting a taste. When fate puts her on my lap for a second time, I'm determined to make her mine. But my sweet Sophia is keeping a secret, one big enough to turn my world upside down. Will our love survive the truth that is waiting to explode? So the secret that she was hiding, I wasn't expecting the turn that was taking. Like, I didn't know that that's part of what this story was going to be about. I will be continuing the series though. Like, I can't wait to read the 3rd book. Like, I actually want to read that one. I think that's called like Crave. Maybe the series will get better as I go on. And then I read Irreversible by Jennifer Hartman and Shelley St. Clair. So this is another book that I got as an ARC. I was so excited. Like, I was ecstatic when I received this ARC. And I rated it 4.75 stars. Not quite a 5-star, but close. Anything Jennifer Hartman writes, I'm going to read it and I'm going to love it. So this is a romantic thriller, and it is crazy. I spend my days locked in a black market nightmare, held captive by a twisted mastermind who considers me his prized possession. My only form of human contact are the victims in the next room, each of whom disappears faster than the last. Everyone leaves, except me. Then I hear him, Isaac. Brash, elusive, and haunted, he isn't anyone's idea of a hero. Separated by a wall, our faces hidden, his voice cuts through the darkness, becoming my only hope. He is driven by vengeance, bearing scars as dark as my own. Despite his rough edges, a fragile bond forms between us, a lifeline. Isaac might be my best chance of escape, but time is slipping away. Breaking free will mean outrunning both our past, and in this twisted game, the cost of freedom may be more than we can afford to pay. Appearances deceive, choices have consequences, and some consequences, they are irreversible. Yeah, this was crazy. The plot twists were plot twisting. There were a few plot twists that was like, excuse me? And the ending had me sobbing. The first 2 books I read by her were all 5 stars. This one, almost 5 stars, but close. She is a phenomenal author. Her and Shelley St. Clair, they write some amazing work. And then I read The Broken Vows by Katerina Mora, and this is the 4th book in the Windsor Brothers series. I rated it 5 stars. This one, I think, tops The Wrong Bride. This was so good. I am in love with Zane, okay? This is about Zane and Celeste. It is a second chance romance, and it is one of my favorite second chance romances. She was his first love, his first heartbreak, and his only regret. Zane Windsor always loved the way Celeste Harrison's eyes light up when he infuriates her. It just took him years to realize that what he left for his childhood rival wasn't hatred. When they begin working for their family business, competing on a larger scale than ever before, he decides he wants it all with her. And what Zane Windsor wants, he gets. Zane and Celeste discover just how thin the line between love and hate truly is, falling harder than either of them thought possible, until an unexpected tragedy leaves them wondering if any of it was ever real at all. Led by a desire for revenge, Zane brings Celeste's company to the brink of bankruptcy, leaving both of their grandparents no choice but to intervene. The Windsors and Harrises agree to a merger on one condition: Zane and Celeste must marry each other. This was very emotional. Like, I cried, I think, like 3 times. I will say, though, I'm not like the biggest fan of Celeste. I mean, I liked her. Like, she was alright. What made the book was Zane. Like, I love Zane. He's my favorite Windsor brother. But Celeste, she had me so irritated. Okay? I wanted to freaking throttle her throughout the book. Because what she put Zane through, unacceptable. But 5 stars. All throughout the book. 5 stars. I loved it so much. And then I read Comeback by Rebecca Genshak, which is another arc that I was lucky to receive. The first 2 books is Burnout and The Playbook. This is a sports romance book series. The first one is like a motocross racing and then a gymnast. And then the second one is football. And then this one is also football. And this is also a brother's best friend and then best friend's sister romance. My brother's best friend is such a jerk, an imposing, handsome jerk who doesn't trust me. And now we're roommates. He wanders around the apartment in nothing but gray sweatpants, looking like a broody, tattooed muscle god, and playing music that shakes the walls. I want to hate him for treating me like an intruder, but there's something about the way he looks at me, like he's trying to figure me out, that keeps pulling me in. Archer Holland is loyal, caring, and protective with everyone except me. Every time I move around our apartment, I can feel his glare, and the worst part, it only makes me want him more. Not that it matters. He is my brother's best friend, the one guy I could never have. But after a late night rescue, we go from sharing a wall to sharing a bed. I'm not sure what my brother would do if he found out, but it doesn't matter because Archer says it can't happen again. That imposing, handsome jerk is about to find out I'm done by playing his rules. This was really cute. I love Archer. I think he might be my favorite Holland brother so far. I think he is very precious. Like, I think he is just so precious. I love also the ASL interpretation here. This is the second book I actually read with ASL representation. The first one was Archer's Voice, and that's like my all time favorite book. But I absolutely love this. I thought this was so, so cute. Did I even tell you my rating? I rated it 4.75 stars. It was close to 5, but it was just so cute, and I highly recommend this sports romance series. Like, I think it is the perfect sports romance series, especially if you want to get into sports romances. Then the last book I read in January is The Secret Fiancé. This is book 5 in the Windsor Brother series. This is actually like a professor-student romance. So I rated this 3.5 stars. My least favorite in the series. Like, I love Lexington as a character. Like, I love him. He is so sweet, and he's the goofy, silly one. When the woman he'd desperately been looking for crashes into him and spills her drink all over his shirt, Lexington seizes the unexpected opportunity, demanding 6 rounds of truth or dare as compensation. An evening filled with laughter and a connection he never wanted to feel ends in her walking away, without even leaving her phone number. Rhea thinks she'll never see him again until he shows up as her professor, offering her class the opportunity of a lifetime, an internship at Windsor Motors. What Rhea doesn't realize is that none of their meetings were coincidental, and she's the sole reason he took up a teaching position at all. After all, Lex knows something she doesn't. The two of them are arranged to be married. I mean, I did still enjoy it, but there were moments in here where I was kind of bored. The spice was good though. And yeah, those are all the books that I read in January. My favorite out of the month though is obviously going to be Onyx Storm. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.